This morning, Madison police continue to investigate what led to the shooting at Abundant Life Christian School.
And they're focusing on social media and the online footprint of the 15-year-old suspect. Kristen Allen is in our newsroom. Kristen, first, how is the community supporting each other?
Tammy and Emerson, the community is remembering the victims of the shooting, a student and teacher who were killed and 5 others who were injured. Hundreds gathered at the state capitol last night for a vigil. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County hosted the candlelight vigil. Crowds gathered on the Capitol lawn to support those impacted by the shooting. 2 students remain in critical condition with life-threatening injuries. 3 students and a teacher suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The shooter, 15-year-old Natalie Ruppnow, who went by Samantha, took her own life before police arrived. Police say her parents have been cooperative and investigators have been interviewing her father. Those who attended last night's vigil want to show support for everyone impacted by this tragedy.
In the hallway, I didn't look in the direction because the stairs were to the opposite direction, but there was blood on the floor and down the stairs, which makes sense. I mean, they had to get the injured people out of there and they were bleeding, and we pretty much just ran over to the church, and we were had a roll call to make sure that everyone was there and safe.
And Madison police are also making a correction after initially saying that a 2nd grade student made the 911 call during the shooting and that it was actually a 2nd grade teacher who made that call. Tammy?